Howdy, fellow bodies. Welcome to Dise and Bodily's Voice, an audiobooks podcast. This episode brought unofficially to you by rain, because I can't do any of this without 300 milligrams of caffeine coursing through my veins. Today, we are reading part 8 of Story's End. Enjoy. There was a clattering sound outside the door, like the sound of someone dropping something heavy they didn't intend to. I heard a whispered argument, and I carefully slid out from under the warm sheets. I was trying my best not to disturb Tulsa as I climbed down the creaking ladder of our bunk bed. I tiptoed to the door and carefully pressed my ear up against it. I didn't have to strain much to hear the conversation.
"It's so fucking heavy,"
one male voice whispered, with some huffing.
"God, you're so weak,"
hissed the other.
"If you're so strong, why don't you carry her by yourself?"
"I'm not gonna do all the work and then let you benefit too." There was tense silence. I put my hand on the doorknob as quietly as I could.
"Fine, I'll help, but I can't go all the way to the end of the hall without a break."
A few hushed grunts, then the sound of something heavy dragging on the carpet past my door.
"Come on, man. You're dragging her on the floor now."
I grit my teeth and squoze the doorknob, preparing to fling the door open. But I hesitate. If I fight them here, they might overpower me and hurt Tulsa, or we could wake other people, and all of us might get into serious trouble. I carefully peel my sweaty hand off of the doorknob and sit by the door and wait. I had to wait till they got to the stairs. I can only assume that's where they were headed. I recalled, from the camera location map Tulsa and I studied from time to time, that there was a sizable gap in the coverage between the last landing and the door. If they were wanting to avoid punishment, that's where they'd go. I looked over my shoulder, where I could see the empty bottom bunk, with white sheets pulled taut. We hadn't even used it, besides as a chair on occasion when we studied. My eye traveled up the ladder, where I could see the outline of Tulsa's feet under the blanket. We hadn't bothered to sleep separately since we arrived a few weeks ago. The whole building seemed like it was just going to inhale you when you were alone. A creak of a door let me know they had reached the end of the hall. I hadn't really managed to control my new abilities, but they're useful enough as they are. I opened the door without a sound and crawled out into the hall, facing the men struggling at the end of it. I began to walk, sticking to the darkest parts of the shadows, avoiding the squeaking floorboards I had learned laid down the middle of the hallway. My breathing became deeper. Every movement of the trees and the windows I passed by were noted, cataloged in the primal parts of my brain. I could feel my skin on my forehead breaking and itching like wool on a sunburn. I was going to need another dose of the serum after tonight. This was going to take a lot out of me. I'm not a vigilante, I thought to myself as I walked steadily toward the men who had managed to make it into the stairwell with the girl that they had, I assumed, drugged. I'm just not going to let someone get hurt when I have the power to help. I have the power now. I have reached the end of the hall, and the doorway the idiots left ajar. I can feel my muscles tighten as I walk through, hearing the sound of clothes jostling and whispers below. Quickly, I pound down the stairs, leaping headfirst into the nearest man. The horns that I had grown, though stubby they were, pierced his back, sliding easily in between the muscle fibers that tore. The student I had jabbed yelped as we careened into a wall. I felt my neck flex unnaturally backward as we connected, and my face smashed up against his back. I shook my head, tearing more of the guy's flesh as I did so. I smiled grimly, backing away from him and watching his legs give out beneath him with a satisfied grunt. I spun around, blood flying off of my hair as I did so. It dripped down my forehead in a warm way, like fresh worm syrup. The other man, who I recognized as Samuel, stood dumbfounded, staring wide-eyed over my shoulder. I growl, "What?" Clenching my fists and advancing. I feel like I am enormous. I feel bigger than my body. I'm not a short little girl. I'm taking up space. I'm standing my ground. I'm helping someone. I feel amazing. Samuel's lip trembled. His eyes began to shine like an animal's in the light. You're not supposed to be here, he whined, stepping backward frantically. My brow furrows and I glance behind me. The powerful feeling left me as swiftly as an exhale. I suddenly felt small. Smaller and weaker than a gecko crossing Flamingo Drive in Las Vegas. I was nothing. Nothing compared to the hulking shape before me. In the emergency lights, which shone a weak amber on each stair-step, and above the doorway, I can see a large, black mass with two massive, front-facing orange specks that flickered with a strange, alien intelligence. It stank. It smelled like the meat that had been forgotten in the back of the fridge for too long, like damp, rust, like the underside of a kitchen sink. Its breath swirled around me, chilling the blood on my face. The breath smelled sweet like an overripe mango on the verge of becoming vinegar. I didn't dare move. It bowed its head, examining the student I had gored. I glanced down. The man groaned, but didn't move. I heard Samuel scramble behind me, towards the stairs. I dropped to the ground just as the creature looked up again. It leaped lightly over me, crashing loudly into the metal stairs. I flipped around, crab-walking backwards to the door the creature had just come in. Samuel screeched like a wild pig, and a massive, bony hand deftly yanked Samuel off the stairs, breaking his death grip on the railing with a squeak of skin on metal. My back finds the door, and I stand, pulling the door open. "How do you open the—" Samuel says, before I hear the metal stairs reverberate loudly behind me. I turn, the hallway beckoning me with a gasp of cool air. The beast raised Samuel's body over its shoulder. I say body, because he was most certainly dead. His jaw is hanging open at an uncanny angle, and his neck. I can see his spine through his throat. His eyes no longer had fear sparkling in them, only the decorative glimmer of the emergency lights. To the left of the stairs, Avery's body still lay limp against the wall. I move to grab her with my left hand, while my right hand holds the door open. Then, the monster slams Samuel's body into the stairs again. The sound of the stairs shake through the air like 100 gongs struck all at once in a tin room.
"What's going on?"
I hear someone say from a floor above me. I look down at the man that I had gored, writhing at my feet. To the beast, who was preparing to slam the unrecognizable corpse into the stairs again, and then to the girl. The cold breeze at my back beckoned me again. The stairs rattle with the sound of several pairs of feet thundering down them. My window was closing. I left the door behind me, surging past the beast. I couldn't help but look at it as I reached the stairs leading down. It held Samuel like a squirrel holds a nut, nibbling at the juicy, exposed flesh with sharp-fanged teeth I could barely make out in the dim light. The orange orbs flicked in my direction. I snarled, baring my teeth, then leapt down the stairs. I run down the stairs going down, past the floor with the tech room, down to the kitchens, down under the kitchens. The basement. There, I was fairly certain there were more rooms to hide in, and no cameras. I reached the final flight. There was only a single, beige-colored door. It was heavily rusted, and there was a small wire frame window in the center, about eye level. I reached for the doorknob, but there was none. In its place was a tarnished brass plate with a round hole in the middle. Above me, I hear shouting and slamming. I can't quite make out what is being said, but I'm not going to stand here thinking about it. I push the door open. It groans and shudders deeply. The sound echoes in the stairwell, and I clench my jaw. Beyond the door, it is pitch black. I grimace, then surge into the dark, shutting the protesting door behind me. Once I feel I am deep enough in, I take a hard, cautious right, reaching my shaking hands out, feeling for the smooth corners in the walls that would lead me into a room that I could hide in. Somewhere I could hide until I could go back. My shins rammed into a bed frame that rattled and swayed raucously. I stumbled forward over it and landed bodily on a rotted mattress that was mostly springs now. The mattress made a horrible, rusty squeaking as I rolled off onto the floor, grunting with effort. I stand and shake myself. The adrenaline is leaving my body with every breath. I start to feel empty and dizzy. With my back against a wall, I slide down until I reach the floor. I sit, trying to get my erratic breath under control. Then, it all hits me like a lead pipe to the face. I think I just killed a man, if not horribly wounded him. I think I liked it. I lick my lips, finding them coated with salty blood that wasn't mine. I smirked, then fell forward, smacking my head onto the floor sharply. "No!" I yelled, banging my head on the floor repeatedly. "No! Do not become a killer! You do not like this!" I chastised. "Violence is bad. You did something horrible," I said between the hefty thuds. "Samuel, I let him be a chicken drumstick for that thing." I watched. I stopped banging my head, staring into the darkness in front of me. "Then, Avery, I was trying to help her. And then I just left her there?" I hardly tried. I scowled, the sensation of my horns sliding into the other man's flesh, driving out any guilt I felt. The popping sensation of my horns bursting through his shirt and skin. Then the easy glide, the taste of his blood, the sound of his pain. I smiled. He deserved worse. Samuel deserved worse. I found myself wishing I had lingered to watch the beast at work, wishing I, too, could have tasted the flesh. I stood suddenly, my eyes wide, though I saw nothing in the dark. What will Tulsa think? I paced. My thoughts were so loud that I didn't notice the vast quietude of the basement. I would think I had gone deaf if I didn't hear my own voice. The taste, the feelings, my heartbeat, the sounds of the stairs, all of them were attacking me like mosquitoes on a humid night. I fixed on Tulsa, trying to remember her cold hands, imagining them grasping my own, shaking, bloodied hands and guiding me through the fog of thoughts. She's going to hate me. She's going to be afraid of me. I stop pacing, though I am still shaking. I slump against the wall again and start to cry. I don't know if she could love me. I don't know if I can forgive myself. I choke, sobbing into my suddenly heavy hands. Samuel and the other guy got less than what they deserved. But Avery? She didn't deserve to be left behind. The bed springs creak. I stop crying and hold my breath, squinting into the dark, bristling. Is someone there? I whisper. Nothing seems to be moving in straight lines. I can't even think straight. Unfortunately, yes. I didn't so much hear the voice as I felt it. It crawled along the walls and leaped into my bones like a starving flea, burrowing deep in my psyche to draw out my sanity. I am nobody anymore. The voice feels like an old-timey radio show in its inflection, with far too much emphasis on vowels, which it used like monkey bars. I felt around for a weapon on the floor. My fingertips close around a piece of the wall that I had broken off in my frenzy moments earlier, ready to throw it and run. I've seen people like you, the voice said coolly, sliding around in the darkness like butter in a hot skillet. But you're not a person anymore, are you? I'm still a person, I state wetly. I don't even believe what I said. I'm not. They made me into something else. I made myself into a killer and a coward. I'm an idiot. So stupid. No, people come in, and only monsters come out. The voice spat the last words full of vitriol and disgust, as if it could see me, covered in blood, in the darkness, like a forlorn ghost. And what are you? I challenge, rocking onto my knees, clenching the piece of wall as though it was the only thing keeping me from slipping back into the void. I'm a monster too! The voice sounded almost proud, like there was nothing better to be than a monster. The springs creaked again, followed by floorboards groaning in my direction. I came in here, a person, like you. But I never came out. I swallow. I have no saliva to swallow. All of it has dried to a metallic film in my mouth. My voice is hoarse. You don't know me, I say through gritted teeth, rising to my feet. I know you better than you think. You've tasted blood, and you have yearned for flesh. My mind stops moving at light speed. The air chills by several degrees in front of me, chilling my nose. I feel an icy cold wisp rush over my lips like cold iron. I yearn for flesh too. I am frozen. I can't move or think anything. I can show you how to love the power you've been given. Just let me. The voice hesitated. I felt a cold rage tingle in my chest, rising up my throat. In, the voice in the dark finished, in a whisper that felt so close it was practically coming out of my own mouth. No! I shout, quite involuntarily. Then run. I run faster than I had when I came into this godforsaken basement. Before I know it, I'm back on the stairwell, panting heavily. I hear no commotion further up, but I smell bleach. I quietly make my way up the stairs, to the floor with the tech room. I know where I need to go to wash the blood off of me. Thank you for listening to Part 8 of Story's End. If you like what you've heard, and you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. Have a lovely evening.